Hey everybody, and welcome to Michigan Main Street Stories. My name's Phil Ike, and I'm here in Three Rivers, Michigan to talk to these lovely folks in this lovely space. I'm going to have them introduce themselves one by one. Tricia, you first.
My name is Tricia Meyer. I'm the full-time executive director here in Three Rivers Downtown Development Authority Main Street Program.
And you, sir.
My name is Andrew George, and I am the chairman of the Three Rivers Downtown Development Authority Main Street Program.
So one of the things I heard about Three Rivers is that it is the official center of the universe. How does a city end up becoming declared the center of the universe?
Well, that's an interesting story, and it actually has to do with stories. It's all about storytelling. So we have a lot of people here that have lived in Three Rivers their whole life, and they have traveled to other parts of the not only country, but internationally, globally. And every time they go somewhere, they run into somebody that has a connection or is from Three Rivers. So a little while back, everybody started gathering those stories and thought it would be just really a unique thing to kind of proclaim that we're the center of the universe, because somehow in some way, everybody always has a connection here. And there has been hundreds and hundreds of stories that have been gathered over the past few years. And just recently, our mayor actually proclaimed that we are the center of the universe, self-proclaimed center of the universe.
I love that so much, because one of the feelings sometimes you get, especially in a small community, is that you are isolated from the rest of the world. You're disconnected. Everything's happening outside, but then, like a story like this, it's very clear that you have an impact, that you have a place in the world, that there are people who are connected to your community regardless of how big it is. I just absolutely love it. My first question to you, Tricia, is how did you end up in this position, becoming director of the DDA and of the Main Street program?
I moved to Three Rivers in 1995. I fell in love with the community. I became really involved at that point more as a volunteer. I was passionate about the historic district, passionate about just the people here, the community pride. Was very involved over the past 25 years, and a couple years ago that opportunity turned into a way for me to become gainfully employed, for lack of a better word. That sounds bad. But the opportunity was there for me to really make a difference, and I jumped on it, and I'm just very passionate about the downtown Three Rivers and the community. So.
Yeah.
She was an incredible chairwoman, and that's how she became director.
Yes, I started out in a volunteer capacity 25 years ago, and then I eventually ended up chairing the board on 2 different occasions, and also helped bring the board along for the Main Street program 7 years ago. So it's been a great opportunity. So.
Andrew, you're the chairman right now. What was the thing that motivated you to become involved in that capacity? Because people love their cities and they love their downtowns, but then to volunteer and take a leadership role, it takes a certain purpose or set of motivation. So what motivated you to become involved in that way?
That's actually a great question. So I was an activist. I traveled the country, participating in different issues, and bettering communities all across America. I did that for about 10 years. And one day I had this realization, hey, I want to move back home to Three Rivers, Michigan, and see what I can do for the community there. So in 2016, I moved back here to Three Rivers, and our mayor, Mayor Lowry, actually came into the grocery store I was working at the time. And I said, Mayor Lowry, what can I do to get involved with the community here? And he said, go fill out a citizen interest form, and we'll get you placed on a board. And about 2 weeks later, after filling out the interest form, I get the call, hey, we want you on the Three Rivers Downtown Development Authority. And at the time, I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, why am I getting put in this position? This isn't good. So that was back in 2017, and it was honestly one of the greatest things that have ever happened to me. October 2017, I joined the board. I got to learn the ins and outs of being on the board, and by October of 2018, it was actually 1 year to the date of joining the board, I became chairman. So as it turns out, I was unsure, but this was my path, I guess.
Yeah, I love that because I think your path is reflective of a lot of people's experience. They're passionate about their city, but they may not necessarily know how it works or why it works or what a board is or what the DDA does or whatever that is. And so they're passionate and they're willing to help, but it might take somebody's invitation or say, hey, you should sign up for this board. And then you start to learn the process, and then you become a little bit even more appreciative of the community because you get to see it from the inside and you get to see what it takes to actually make things happen. Tricia, the next question for you. If somebody has never been to Three Rivers, how would you describe it as a community?
I would describe it as quaint, charming, historic, lots of outdoor, beautiful space. We clearly have Three Rivers. We are named Three Rivers, but we really do have Three Rivers.
I noticed that right away when I was flying the drone over downtown. I was like, yes, that's why it is what it is named.
More importantly, they meet in the center of Three Rivers.
Yeah.
So all Three Rivers do.
I would say diverse, full of opportunities, forward thinking. Just, a great place to be.
Yeah, Andrew, what about you? From your perspective, how would you describe downtown community, business community, from your perspective as chairman?
It's a wonderful community. I've as I said earlier, I traveled a lot when I was younger for a living, and people would ask me where I'm from, and I'd always say Three Rivers, Michigan, and obviously I'd get a lot of I've never heard of it. We're a small community, and I'd say, if you can just picture a small town like a historic downtown. In a movie, that is exactly how I'll describe Three Rivers. And I pull it up on the internet and show a picture of Three Rivers, and no way, it is like out of a movie. That's a real place. I'm like, yeah, that's my hometown.
I love it. As I was walking around downtown, I don't know if it's a secret gift I have or some kind of reflex, but I smelled or I felt that there is a new brewery coming into this downtown. Andrew, can you give me any kind of a sneak peek about this new business coming to downtown Three Rivers?
Yeah, so the new place is replacing a brewery that we had before. We have new energetic business owners, Colin and Evan Monroe, who are actually, their family is hugely involved in the downtown Three Rivers. Colin serves on our board, in fact.
Awesome.
And they are opening up a brewery called Useless Creatures. And I'm hoping it's going to bring a nice, vibrant, young crowd.
Yeah.
Help with that, being that both the owners are very young themselves. So it's good to see young people around my age investing in downtown Three Rivers. It's promising.
Yeah, and that seems to be a trend as I continue doing these stories, in that sometimes we feel like our communities are stagnant, populations are getting older, it might be a talent drain, people leaving, but what I have discovered is a lot of young people, young families, husband and wife teams, whoever it is, people that have grown up in the community realizing, hey, we can have a great quality of life here in this small community. At the same time, I can help the community that has helped me. And it's almost like the pendulum is swinging from, when I was growing up, it was go to college and go somewhere else because that's how you get to be successful.
Get out of your hometown, right?
Right. And now the pendulum is swinging back to a re-embracing of your own community and saying, hey, there is a lot of great things happening here. It's a great environment to start something new. The overhead is low, and you can bootstrap your way to something really, really successful. And that's so exciting to see. The other exciting thing to see in a lot of our communities is embracing this idea of placemaking, this changing of a community, an adaptation of the community to needs. Start of COVID, you had people closing down streets and things like that, and realizing, hey, we can do simple little changes to our community to really bring a little bit more vibrant culture or bring people together, things like that. Andrew, what placemaking initiatives has Three Rivers undergone over the last couple years or so?
That's awesome. So Tricia and I attended National Main Street Conference. I think it was the last one that was hosted in person in Seattle. And they really hammered at that conference on placemaking. So we took that to heart. We came back home here to Three Rivers. We talked to our board. We engaged our members. And came up with ideas. And we had a former board member that got really involved with a placemaking initiative, and it's what we call East Alley now. Formerly, it was just a walk through to get from the east parking lot into the downtown area. There was not much to see. There's a tree and a bench. And this former board member, Michael Hogeboom, had a vision for it of art. And we stood behind him. We partnered with the MEDC. They matched us 50-50 on that, I think it was. And we turned that space into a vibrant space with artwork and a little pop-up stage area for open mic artists or what have you. There's market lights, there's seating, there's tables, there's outlets. And it just really brought the place to life. And now it's so amazing to actually watch people hanging out in this space that was just simply a dull walkthrough before.
And there's such a strong lesson there, I think, specifically for our smaller communities, because sometimes the challenge is people thinking, hey, we don't have a lot of space. We don't have a lot of flexible use land, but what you do see are alleys and little walkways and little things that you may have never given a second thought, but now you can see a beautiful use for it. Fill it with art, fill it with benches, really create a location where people can sit and they can interact and things like that. The other thing I noticed as I'm walking through Three Rivers is social districts. Can you explain what social districts are and kind of how those came to be here in Three Rivers?
You want to take this, Tricia?
Sure. So social districts came about with the COVID pandemic and the need for people to safely social distance and also be able to support our restaurants and bars, licensed establishments that obviously were under restrictions as far as indoors. Typically having a cocktail in a public space in a city proper is not something that has ever been allowed by the Michigan Liquor Control. So it worked out very well for the communities to be able to work with MLCC in that sense. So basically the social district allows the municipality to establish a boundary outside. So in our particular case, it would be our Main Street sidewalks, our East Alley, as Andrew was discussing, and we also have another pocket park called the Mural Mall. So a licensed establishment such as the Riviera here, and we also have a tap house, Landmark Tap House that's involved right now, they can be approved to serve a cocktail and it can be taken outside and people can enjoy that.
It seems like a win-win for everybody, because not only does that brewery or that restaurant get to essentially expand its footprint outside of its immediate walls, but at the same time too, the community wins, because one of the hallmarks of a vibrant community is you get to see people. People are out on the sidewalk. People are at tables. People are out and about really enjoying the community. And so when people are able to take drinks outside, I, as an outsider or a guest in a community, I get to drive through the community and I get to see all of these people enjoying the city. And right away, that is such a compelling draw for me, as opposed to driving down and everybody's boarded up in buildings, which obviously we're talking during the winter and that's essential. But here's an opportunity during the summer where you get to really see the people in your community enjoying being around each other. Andrew, earlier you gave me a little bit of a sneak peek about the new brewery coming. Any other projects or initiatives kind of coming down the line that you want to give us a preview of?
Sure. So we do have what is known as a capital improvements plan, or that's what we're calling it. And we took the time to have our board members brainstorm, a nice brainstorming session, and we came up with what would work best in downtown Three Rivers, and what we think folks in Three Rivers would enjoy most down here. And the big thing on our list right now, the first thing I want to say is we already have a mural mall. That's another alleyway like the East Alley. It's on the other side of downtown. That we just received a vibrancy grant from the MEDC, correct? To redo that alleyway as well. So we're going to do something similar to East Alley with market lights, artwork, things like that. But, you know, in the near future, we want to start working on things like an amphitheater behind downtown here.
Cool.
On the east side of our downtown, it slopes down to the river. And it creates a perfect natural amphitheater. So we're really psyched and amped to try to put that together. So that's in our near future, and you know, a dog park here and there. So that'd be nice.
All of these plans really highlight two things that jump out to me in that smaller communities. One of the big challenges is just resources. Like we need so many things, and we want to do so many things, but with a relatively small population, you don't have a giant cash flow. And so having state assistance from the MEDC can really make a lot of these transformative changes, even if they are simple, happen because those grants exist. And then the second thing that it highlights to me is just this adapting to what you have, in that, hey, we have Three Rivers. Hey, we have this slope down to the river. Wouldn't it be great if we made an amphitheater? It's already there, and you're looking at what you have and being creative, and this creativity aspect in placemaking is so important, because it's really easy to look at your downtown or your city at large and say, yeah, but there's not really anything that we can do there, but you just have to take a little bit closer look and think a little bit creatively and talk to your community and say, hey, what do you guys want? How can we make this happen? Even if it sounds impossible or ridiculous or any of those things. It's just absolutely beautiful. One of the things that stands out to me about Three Rivers is obviously this building. And we were talking a little bit earlier that this is a redeveloped building. It hasn't always been in this state. And then we were talking earlier that there's families in Three Rivers that have this history of development, and younger people looking at how do we improve the vacancy rate here by using and redeveloping the buildings that we have. Can you guys tell me a little bit about this, the current state of redevelopment or history of redevelopment here in Three Rivers?
Well, we do have, being that we are a nationally registered historic district, we're very fortunate to have some wonderful buildings in our building inventory. Many of them date back to the turn of the century, late 1800s. This particular location that we're at, the Riviera Theater, was actually built in 1925, fully renovated in 2003.
2005.
2005. Okay. Yes. Sorry about that. So there's so much opportunity here where some communities you go into, you have to build something. We have this authentic historic district, and we have, and truly there's history here in all these buildings. And I find it very fascinating myself, but many people that do show interest in buying the buildings, they want to know about the history. They want to have that be part of their story, you know, as well. So there's a lot of potential here still. We have a lot of upper floor housing here right now in many of these buildings. There's a lot of potential still for that to be developed.
That's such a gift, because that's one of the things a lot of our communities lack, is we have everything filled on the bottom floor, but you have all these vacant spaces up top that could be used for mixed use.
Yeah, we have a lot of potential there still. We have a lot of young people looking to want to live down here. What inventory we do have that's rehabbed stays pretty full, and we get inquiries on a daily basis, people wanting to live down here. They want to work here, they want to live here, they want to play here, they want to just really, you know, invest themselves into the community, immerse themselves into the community. We have, even on the outer district, we have a couple, we were a manufacturing area district way back when. We have a manufacturing vacant building. We refer to it as the White House building. White House Manufacturing. I believe they were in existence in the 40s, 50s. And we have a young developer who's come alongside and purchased that, is working with the city, and they're actually going to be rehabbing that and putting in apartments, urban kind of industrial style apartments.
We'll finally be able to meet the demand for how many people want to live down here.
Yeah, housing, definitely. But we also have opportunities. We do have vacancies where we're trying to diversify our retail and whatnot as well. So lots of potential for sure.
It's so exciting to me because sometimes when you use the word development or redevelopment, it sometimes can create the sense of, well, we're going to erase our history and raise every building to the ground and really erase everything about our community that exists. And here in Three Rivers, it's showing that doesn't have to be the case, in that you can embrace a beautiful building like this, and it can serve a great purpose in the community. And you, as a developer, it makes sense as an investment too. You can get your money back on that, and so it checks all of these boxes, as opposed to coming in and maybe taking an erasure approach to redevelopment. That's so exciting for a community. Let's talk about main streets, and not necessarily Three Rivers Main Street, but main streets and downtowns in all of our communities here in Michigan. And I'm going to throw this question at both of you guys. Tricia, you first. Why are main streets so important to the life and the health of a community?
I think whenever you hear the word Main Street, it's just a very iconic image that you get. I mean, let's face it, Walt Disney probably did the best approach with anybody who's been to Disney World. You walk through the gates, and what's the first thing you see is a Main Street approach, So I think there's just an image. I think when people think of Main Streets, it's a place where not only you can shop and dine, but you visit, you meet people, you connect with people, and they are quaint, and you can feel a little more of a sense of ownership or belonging. I've been to other towns and other states where they're actually building what is supposed to look like a main street. But here in Three Rivers, we're fortunate to have one of the most intact, authentic, historic main streets in the state of Michigan. So I think people like that nostalgia. They like the feeling. They like that sense of place.
Andrew, what about you? Why are main streets, why are downtowns so important to the life of a community?
Well, I think it's obvious that main streets are the center of the town. But more than anything, they're the face. It's what you take away from the town. It's what people describe their town as. When you think of the outskirts, like we have the highway out there, and sure, we have stores out there, like big box stores and whatnot, but that's not what people refer to when they say Three Rivers. They refer to the downtown. So I think it's so important that is something vibrant for people to take away and go brag about to their friends outside of Three Rivers.
Absolutely. And so then let's narrow into Three Rivers Main Street. Three Rivers, obviously part of Main Street Michigan, Main Street community, part of the greater Main Street America program and resources and tapping into those things. Tricia, how have you seen being part of Main Street Michigan benefit either you personally as a director or Three Rivers at large as a community?
Well, I think I may have said this already, so I apologize, but we are a small community with big dreams, and we have a ton of potential. I don't think we've even reached our fullest potential yet. So partnering with Michigan Main Street and the National Main Street Network in general has just really allowed us to, I think, fast track in many ways a lot of our initiatives. It's enabled us to kind of streamline our approaches, be a little more strategic. It's just by far the most sophisticated form of revitalization for a historic district like ours. So,
It, and just to be clear, not every community in Michigan is a Main Street community in this connected to this program. If there are communities interested in becoming part of Michigan Main Street and tapping into the resources and the trainings that it offers, Tricia, what would you say to them as far as how it could benefit them? Either maybe they're a DDA director that kind of feels alone on an island trying to make things happen in their community, or maybe they've heard of Main Street Michigan, but they don't quite know what it's all about. What would you say to communities like that?
I would definitely say to visit the communities that are part of Main Street, Michigan Main Street, because they obviously have plenty of stories of their own, tangible things that they can see as far as differences. We are 8 years, we are a master level 8 years into it, so we can certainly sit down and with anybody at any point and say, here's where we were, here's where we are, here's where we're going, and we have benchmarks, of success that we can definitely show. Michigan Main Street is definitely has a great team that provides, any support in that sense as well. But I think just kind of, doing your homework and coming up with a plan and then, working the plan, I think is just really good. It's really a partnership. It becomes just another extension of what we do, and we build relationships and we have networking that we can do. And it's just a great, I've always said, people say why, and I say why not. So
it's an incredible support system. I think, like you said earlier, it's a partnership. It's amazing. If you got the creativity and you have the passion for your downtown and you're in Michigan, Michigan Main Street is it's just an instrumental piece to pulling it together, and we have a lot to thank them for here in our downtown. So.
If somebody's watching this interview and either they're interested in how Main Street has benefited you guys, or if they want to check out the Riviera Theater or check out the new brewery that's coming, how would they connect with Three Rivers directly on social media, website, things like that?
Sure. So we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. All under Downtown Three Rivers is our name, obviously. And there's not... I don't believe there's another Downtown Three Rivers page out there. So
okay.
We're it. And we're on downtown3rivers.com. But, we try to get out there everywhere. So we try to keep up with the times.
I love it. We've been talking with Andrew and Tricia here in downtown Three Rivers. I want to thank you guys for the work that you're doing for the community, being part of the Main Street program, and really helping your community realize its full potential. I can't wait to visit in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, just to see how this place takes off and develops. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and please do. We're on a roll.
Yeah, thank you.